Welcome to Real Turf Pros. The following episode is me, Paul Sykes, explaining to you why I'm qualified to talk to you about grass. I will talk about my origin story with over 35 years of experience, from self-employed gardener to head groundsman in a stadium. I will talk about my vision for Real Turf Pros in the future, teaching amateur lawn care enthusiasts how to get the same results as the pros. I shot this video over 3 years ago because I'm the king of procrastination, but trying to get better. I could jazz it up and make it better, but I'm not going to, because I want to look back at it in the future and remember my humble beginnings and see how my editing's got better, etc. Since filming this episode, my life has changed in ways I couldn't have even dreamt of. So you could consider this episode 1 of 2 if you like. So without further ado, I present to you Paul Sykes from the past. This channel will entertain you with the best sports turf professionals in the world. And you're going to become a grass expert along the way. Welcome to the journey. How do? I'm Paul Sykes. I'm a professional groundsman based in the UK. On this channel, we explore the strategies and tools used by the best sports turf professionals in the world and show you how it's directly relatable to your lawn at home. Today, I'm going to introduce you to my goals and my vision. I'm going to set my intentions and hopes for this channel and give you some insight of what's to come. On this video, I'm going to talk about my origins. Who am I to tell you how to cut grass? I need to justify myself, so I'm going to tell you my origin story, my career, where I'm up to now, how this channel got started, where the vision came from. Roughly, it's going to be about connecting sports turf professionals with you guys at home and show how it's directly relatable. Just because we use big fancy bits of kit doesn't mean you can't do the same in your lawn, your garden, with basic tools. And I'm going to do a grass masterclass and show you that. I'm going to start interviewing the best head groundsmen and women on the planet. Another one of my goals and visions with this endeavour, it's not an endeavour, it's going to be fun, is to show how accessible this industry is. Okay, so yeah, I want you out there getting your lawn stripes. I want you to send me pictures. I want you to post it on Instagram. You know, get out there. Send me pictures of your lawn. Ask me questions, I'll answer them. Our industry is a £1 billion industry. It's thriving. But guess what? And this might shock you. Hardly anybody coming into it. What this channel's going to do is explain to you guys that don't make these pitches look awesome because we want them to look awesome on TV. That's a byproduct of doing all the best practices. Don't get me wrong, we make sure it's perfect because we know it's on TV, but by doing the best practices that we've taught and pushing ourselves and leaning on each other and calling each other, what do you do here, mate? And what about the frost? And what about this? We prop each other up. It's the exact opposite of crabs in a bucket. We push ourselves up out of the bucket. So pitches don't look great because we use as many best practices as we can. I want to inspire people who, are just amateur lawn care enthusiasts and grass care enthusiasts out there, or SARD in America they call it. I want to inspire people to become their own Real Turf Pro on their own little patch of land. By the way, Real Turf Pros is called Real Turf Pros with 2 E's because I want my friends over the pond to be watching this video too in America. And those guys call a cylinder mower, the red cylinder that you'll see, you're going to see lots of them on this channel. That's called a reel mower in America. So I thought, I want to meet the Real Turf Pros, Real Turf Pros, Real Turf Pros. Cool. That's so. A bit of context, that's why this channel is called Real Turf Pros. If you stick around to the end of the video, I'm going to tell you who I've got lined up. Okay, let's do origins, shall we? That's what all the kids talk about nowadays, isn't it? I grew up in Blackpool. I've been cutting grass since I left school. I even did my work experience at Polton Golf Club when I was 16. And that should have told me everything I know, because it wasn't very enjoyable, but I stuck it out then, and I'm sticking it out now. When I left school, I originally wanted to go to college, but I was told by careers advice that I wasn't very bright. So I was told that gardening, grubbing around in mud, was probably a good option for me. Well, lucky for them, I took their advice. I worked as a self-employed gardener after leaving school for a couple of years. I was fortunate enough to work with what I believe was the best gardener in Blackpool, a guy called Andy Kerwin, and my mentor and his mentor Charlie. Charlie was one of those good old boys that every young person needs to hang around with to teach them how to become a man or a woman, I believe. Charlie was different than most gardeners. Charlie went out there with cylinder mowers on people's lawns and cut with a Ransom's Marquis back in the day. Charlie was the man. Charlie taught me everything I needed to know in life, and I still quote him to this day. Growth follows a knife. That's what Charlie taught me. We were cutting roses at the time, but it applies to grass. I wasn't ready for being self-employed at a young age. I asked my parents if they'd mind me getting a job, which was a silly question looking back on it. They said, of course you don't. You can do what you want in life, son. And that's something that's been a big driving factor in my life. So after being a gardener for a while, I felt a little bit frustrated, and I saw an advert for Kirkham Grammar School in the northwest. This is a prestigious private school specialising in rugby and lots of sports. To be a groundsman working at a school is a very good place to learn a lot of knowledge in a relatively short period of time. You have hockey to deal with, tennis to deal with, rugby, football, almost every sport. You've got athletics in summer, knowing how to do each of them. Cricket's the most intense sport ever to manage turf for. I worked at Kirkham Grammar School for 9 years, working my way up from gardener to head groundsman. During my tenure at the school, I asked the bursar if I could go to college. Very luckily for me, Myerscough College, one of the best agricultural and lawn care specialist colleges in the world, was just round the corner for me at Goosner. Is it Goosner? Near Preston, Billsborough, St Michael's. It's near Preston. When I was at the school and I asked to go to college, it was part of the stipulation when I originally got the job. My boss said, well, we'll send you on an MBQ level 1, which is the most basic. And I said, no, I want to do what was the best I could do at the time, which was HND, Higher National Diploma. Some people would say that stands for have no degree, which is quite funny, but it's degree level education. That's where the combination of learning all the skills needed at the school and going to the best college, at least one of the best colleges in England. Not only did I learn a hell of a lot at college from the tutors, I learned more, you could argue, from the part-time students who worked at golf clubs. My friend Rich Eastham, who worked at Preston North End at the time, he was the head groundsman there, went on to work for Manchester City. These guys have steered the course of my life, and I'll be eternally grateful. Thank you, Rich and Keith. These guys are both going to be interviewed at some point, so stay tuned. When I wanted to do the HND, my boss said, I don't want to give you that. And I said, why? She said, because you're just going to get the qualification and then leave. I said, no. I said, how does grass grow? And she said, what? I said, how does grass grow? Where does grass grow? Blank face, probably like you guys right now. I went downstairs, went to the front lawn, I picked up a blade of grass and I placed it on her table. I pointed, I said, where does it grow? Does it grow at the tip of the leaf? Does it grow in the middle? Does it grow those bits that come off the side? Does it grow at the bottom? Where does grass grow? And she said, I don't know. You should know. I said, exactly. That's why I want you to send me on the HND. And thankfully, by being stubborn, I got what I wanted and I went to the college and I passed my HND. Looking back on it, they were the fundamentals. The only problem with all that is I went straight from school to working. All my friends were up doing gap years, getting drunk, going abroad, having a riot, having a laugh. I have some wanderlust to me, so I decided to quit and go and do ski season, and that was my gap year. I'm very glad I did that. It's funny what you think at the time. I thought this would end my career. I thought if I come away from this, I'll never get back into it. Completely wrong. I met a girl when I did my ski seasons. I came back, I got them all loved up and felt like I'm grown up, if you would. It turned in 2008 when the world banking crisis happened because I was coming back to pay off some debt. I'm good at grass, but I'm not that smart. As Lennon said, life's what happens to you while you're busy making other plans. It turned out again to be a great move for me. I went and did my ski seasons because I was finding the job very frustrating. I've got quite a thinky brain, sitting in a tractor for hours and hours and hours because the iPod hadn't been invented. When I went and did my ski seasons, they invented the iPod Touch. iPod Touch. Look into that, kids. That was your pre-model for the iPhone. I did my ski seasons, got that out of the way with. Came back, did all sorts of crazy jobs in England, been chefing, running chalets, so I was preparing food for Blackpool Football Club, doing lots of temp work in the catering industry, but to be honest with you, I was never a chef. I was always a groundsman. Coming back, the invention of the iPad was fantastic because I'm a podcast freak, and now I love the job so much because I can be on the tractor doing tedious work and learning and discovering new things. So I struggled for a good few months, actually. It gave me a bit of a crisis of confidence, thinking, yep, I was right, I'm never going to get a job again. And I saw this advert, and the advert was for a job cutting grass down south. I was in Blackpool with my parents, bugging them, living rent-free. This job came up, and I didn't know what it was, but I did know that it was cutting grass, and that was better than chopping carrots, in my opinion. I set off from the job 2 a.m. in Blackpool and arrived at Kempton for my interview. Kempton near Staines in London. The guys were late for my interview. They didn't get there till 10. They should have been there at 8, but I stuck around. When I got the job, I realised I've been rightly deceived in a way. I gave my interview. They told me that I'm looking good, I've got the qualifications needed, and they revealed what the job was. They said, it's the stoop. Harlequins. Side note, my goal through all of this was to be Liverpool's groundsman. I'm a Liverpool Football Club, much to my chagrin. Every time I watch them, they lose. Come on, Liverpool, sort it out. And that was my focus. And one thing I've learned in life is to not be too rigid, because really what I wanted to do was work in a stadium. I didn't think I liked rugby at this time. Rugby is my friend, and I'll explain that as we go along. So they said, it's the stoop. The job is for a groundsman, assistant groundsman, at Harlequins Rugby Club. And I was like, what? They were very impressed that I got up early, got down for the job, and I waited round. Interesting side note, if you remember the whole Bloodgate saga at Harlequins, that was the reason they were late for my interview, because it was the final wrap-up and everything was about to go on the news about what the proceedings were, and everybody had to be down at Harlequins for that interview. So looking back on it, I was quite frustrated waiting, but it was definitely worth waiting for. I got the job. Within 3 months of getting that job, an amazing thing happened. Nathan Humphreys, who was the head groundsman, he's an Australian guy, he got a job offer for pretty much the same job. At the time we had rugby league playing as well, and in the summer, and rugby union in winter. What was fantastic about that is that Nathan got exactly the same job over back in Melbourne, Brisbane, one of them. That left me and Dave Tomlinson. How you doing, Dave? I follow you. I know you're following me back. I'd like to talk to you at some point. And within a couple of months, Dave left, or maybe even 1 month. So I went from coming back from ski seasons, thinking imposter syndrome, thinking I'm a loser, thinking I'm never going to get back into this again. Got the job interview, got the job, was head groundsman of Harlequins Rugby Club, one of the best rugby clubs on the whole planet. It's still a dream to me. I'm a big believer in honesty. When I got the job, when I was working there for a little bit, Nathan said to me, you're a little bit ring rusty, mate. A little bit ring rusty, mate. And I was like, oh, ow. And it hurt, but it was good. It was a good thing. Sometimes you need the squeeze, you need the pressure to show the world, no, just like you're a bit stupid and you should cut grass. All right, I'll show you. All right, I'm ring rusty. I was, to be fair. But I'll show you. That allowed me to learn a lot on the job, to experiment, to play, to enjoy my life. And as I developed into the job, that passion became something else, and it just took over my whole sense of purpose, and absolutely loved every second. Speaking to me, in my 13 years, 6 months, I worked for Quins. If you spoke to me at the time, some days on match day, you probably wouldn't think I loved the job, but I absolutely did. I enjoyed every second of it. Got my dream job. Let's explain why rugby is my friend. It's an amazing thing. I'm a working class northerner. I was a bit of a reverse snob at the school. There were all these rich people. But sometimes you're the problem. I was too aggressive with it at the time, looking back on it. But rugby is my friend because I used to think I didn't like rugby. I used to think that rugby was stupid. It was for rich idiots who were all... And you can imagine my train of thought, my naive young train of thought at the time. And yet, rugby got me. Rugby's always been there for me. I was at a rugby school, just as a side note, Kirkham Grammar School plays in their league. They play Rugby School, they play Sedgburgh, T-Bay, Russell. These are all top rugby schools where the elites of rugby learn and go on to play for the best clubs in the world, unbeknownst to me at the time. Rugby helped me there. When I went to Chamonix to do my ski seasons, I started watching more rugby and spent a lot of time in a bar called Munster Bar. I can't remember most of the nights, but they were good nights, watching the Six Nations and things like that. Come back to England, going to get a job, probably cutting grass verges, but I didn't care. No, the job was Harlequins, rugby. Yeah, absolutely amazing. Rugby's been my friend my whole life. Around this time, my ideas of life started to change. I was probably listening to some deep podcasts about people that had success in various parts of their life, and I started to think in an entrepreneurial way, if you would, or out-the-box thinking. I decided to move into a campervan at the time. Still do, live in one today. That was 4 years ago. Against everyone else's judgment, again, I'll show you. And I moved into my van. That allowed me to have more freedom in my life, no bills, more in line with the kind of lifestyle and life that I want to live. But this didn't stop. An amazing thing happened at that time that I will be thankful for the rest of my life. Martin Smart at a magazine called Turf Business called me up. Can't remember the exact words of what he was saying. This isn't verbatim, but he said something along the lines of, "I've heard good things about you, Sykesy." And I, with my eternal imposter syndrome, said, "What?" And he said, "I'm hearing good things about you. You don't need to tell me. And I've heard about how good you are with Dan, and I've heard good things about Dan too." And I'm like, "Okay, well, thank you very much." He said, "I'd like you to come to the Turf Business Conference." The Turf Business Conference is a think tank we do where the best of the best, imposter syndrome, okay, where the best of the best on the planet, Liverpool, Wembley, Twickenham, Real Madrid, all the best groundsmen on the whole planet, cricket, you know, not just football and rugby, the best groundsmen on the whole planet. We have a beverage or two at night, we enjoy ourselves, but we sit down and we do think tanks during the day. We get together, the heads of colleges too, and we try to work out what are the problems of our industry and what can we do about it. And the point is, I already knew a couple of the guys, but that was where another grace of luck. I got to meet all my peers and all my heroes as one. Okay, let's get to a thing. They say don't meet your heroes. I say bullshit. On this, I'm lucky. I met all my heroes, and they weren't arrogant and horrible like people say in other industries and sectors. All of them were fantastic. I expected, what's a rugby guy doing here? I cut Wimbledon tennis. What's a rugby guy doing here? I do the Oval or Lords or whatever. No, absolutely everyone was fantastic. That gave me the contacts where I could bounce ideas off these people and see my peers as true friends, and I'll be eternally grateful. A funny thing happened when I was getting on the plane. And this is the major inspiration behind this, one of the major inspirations. I got a window seat, and I never get a window seat, so I was very happy. So I went past these two guys. Bear in mind, everybody on this plane is a head groundsman of some sort. It was a dream plane for me. I go past these two guys, shuffle past them, get on my seat. I was like, yes, got the window seat. And then I realised I'm being a little bit rude, so I turned to the guys to my left, to my right, and I said, Paul Sykes, head groundsman, Harlequins, how you doing, guys? And chap to my right said, Stuart Kerrison, Essex County Cricket. I was like, oh my God, you know, hi Stu, how you doing, mate? And the other chap, Steve Braddock, Arsenal. And I went, shook his hand, I went, oh my God. And he went, what? I went, I've just shown my arse to my hero. And he said, I thought he was going to say, what's your language or something like that. And he said, hero? And I went, I've been reading about you and quoting you for 25 years, mate. You're my absolute hero. You changed the game. Very sadly, I wanted to interview Steve. Steve was the guy. If you keep watching this channel, I'll explain exactly to you why Steve Braddock was amazing. And very sadly, Steve died of skin cancer last year. My thoughts go out to his family at this time. It's probably, I would imagine it's been very, very tough for them. Steve was the sort of guy, I only knew him for, say, 12 hours of my life, really. But that was a lot. 12 hours of deep, intense, funny, hilarious conversations. I mean, I can't say half of the things we used to talk about on this channel because we were a little bit potty mouthed, me and Steve, when we got going. But what a great guy, and I love you still, Steve, to this day. You're amazing. And yeah, meeting Steve Braddock was the one. It's what changed everything. Steve Braddock worked with George Graham at Arsenal in the 90s and came up with the idea of cutting grass with the rotary Honda mowers. Never been done before. It's always reel mowers. So for me, Steve Braddock is the realest of the real. George Graham, the manager of Arsenal at the time in the 90s, allowed him to have free rein. He said, I want to cut with these different mowers, just the mower you use at home, but it sucks all the rubbish out after the match and it keeps the grass healthy and clean. Then he put brushes on the front. Well, that might have been you, Dave. Was that you, Dave Roberts at Liverpool? Well, you weren't at Liverpool at the time. It might have been Dave. I think it was Dave. But he started a chain of events where groundsmen just upped their game, and they're still up in the game to this day. Let's have a little authentic sip of coffee to make everything. It's coffee, but let's have a little authentic sip of coffee to make things give that genuine home feel. And then the dreaded COVID happened. It brought the whole world to its knees. It affected professional sport. I didn't even know if I was going to have a job. There was lots of uncertainty. When it came to furlough, they were furloughing my assistant, Dan. He wasn't doing very well, to be honest with you. He's the sort of guy that's better off just being at work and moving, you know. He convinced the club to keep one member of staff on. They were going to shut the whole place down. I explained, if you let the grass grow this long, it's going to cost a lot of money to get it good again. So thankfully the guys listened and we kept the club open. But I lived in a campervan. So in a big meeting, and this is where things started to change in my life and in Dan's life too. Put my hand up in the meeting and they said, what? I said, furlough me. They said, what? I said, yeah, furlough me. They said, can't do that, you're the groundsman, you're the boss. I said, it's wax on, wax off time for Dan. He's brilliant. He needs to do it on his own. He needs to grow into his own shoes and become the head groundsman that he will be at Harlequins one day. Long story short, I let them know that I got fishing rods in the back of my van and I want to be out there. So they furloughed me and I thought, what a cool experiment. I wonder if I can survive. I've already moved into a van, cut my bills down. I wonder if I could survive for a month on 70% of my wages. Easy. Got to see my dad loads. My sister lives in Devon, my dad lives in Blackpool, I live in London. Got people all over the country and I thought, yeah, let's do this. It was fantastic. I went everywhere. I was safe. Kept twice distance from people, on kayak, fishing, and I had the most amazing time. Came back and it did something. It clicked something in here. It was the start of me realising that I want to be autonomous. I want to be in charge of my own destiny. There's something, and we'll get to the something. Then a year later, I thought, I'm going to push this a little further. I had some cool ideas. So I said to my bosses, can I ask another one of those annoying questions this year? And I literally did that. And they said, what? And I said, can I take all my leave at once in summer? And they said, what? And again, Dan, what about Dan? And I said, Dan needs to grow a pitch on his own after the renovation. He needs to learn the skills. So again, they begrudgingly agreed. And that was really when things started to change. Then I decided I'm going to drive around the whole country, try and spend as little money as possible. Can I catch mackerel in Scotland? Can I find samphire by the beach? Can I live on an island or a loch in Scotland for a day or two? Did it all. It was fantastic. 2 years in a row, I've taken big chunks of time off. I've started changing my whole lifestyle and I am absolutely loving it. Let's cut to about a year ago. After 13 years of working at Harlequins, I decided, let's go back. When I came back from Scotland, I quit. It was so good. I had such a good time that I just quit my job. Let me just explain that. I said, I'm leaving in a year's time. And nobody believed me. Nobody believed me right up to 11 months into it. But I said, I'm quitting. I'm going to quit the job. I didn't know what I was going to do. but I knew I had to quit. If you can hear that, by the way, it's very heavy rain hitting the patio door. I was experiencing burnout in that last year. I was tired. It's a very intense job what we do. Welfare of your staff, the hours we work, amount of 60, 70, 80-hour weeks that I did in the time. It's quite phenomenal. Not complaining, it just is what it is. It's what we do. There's no such thing as a 40-hour week when you work in elite sports turf. For 13 years, I was tired. Looking back at it, I was burnt out. So it was going up to the end, and my boss, Phil, he saved in my phone as Phil, best boss ever, for Gavin Jones Nurture. Gavin Jones and Nurture Group do the contract at Harlequins. So even though I've been the head groundsman there for 13 years, those guys were my contract managers, give me any support I needed, machines, fix the machines, bring me fertiliser. Brilliant. I had a chat with Phil, and he said, I think I'm starting to get you now, Sykesy. I think I'm starting to understand where you're going with this. How would you feel if you did a 3-day week with me? Because he still wanted to utilise my skills. Imposter syndrome, I hate that word. So he said, how would you feel about working 3 days a week? And I thought, oh God, that sounds good. And again, like doing the furlough and doing the big holiday, I thought, can I afford it? Well, of course I can. I live in a campervan. It was like I've looked back at myself from the future and gone, what you need to do is this, this and this, and it's all coming together. Phil really helped me out there. And that gave me the courage to take the leap in life, to really go for it. My dad says, if you wake up and you're not touching wood, it's a good day. He's an absolute hero. I'm going to do loads of dad quotes. But he's right. And I thought, I'm not getting any younger. I'm 44. I need to just break free and figure it out. And this right now is me breaking free and figuring it out. The light's probably rubbish. This is probably a boring video, but I promise you, I will get better. I will get better. That leap allowed me more freedom in my life. That freedom allowed me more time to think for me. What do I want? What can I do? What can I achieve? What's the next goal? I talked to a guy called Dean Gillespie. All these names, I'm going to interview every one of them. Dean Gillespie did pitch testing. So where did ReelTurfPros come from? Well, for me and Dean, having 1 or 2 beverages, we were hammered. We came up with the concept of this. We thought, what a great idea. And we realised that nobody's doing this. What is this? They're connecting you guys, the people at home, to us guys. It doesn't need to be this way. Just like I was quite shocked that they weren't elitists. We're not elitists. I'm going to share all of it with you. I'm going to show you how to make an amazing lawn just at smaller scale. The only reason we've got all this amazing kit, big flashy tractors and everything, is because we're working at scale. Everything that we do on those pitches, you can make in your lawn with just a few basic hand tools and a rubbish mower. And that's my job to show you how to do that. Towards the end of my time at Quins, I had the classic light bulb moment. I was like, oh my God, why have I never thought about this before? So what's the light bulb moment? During my time at Quins, my most commonly asked question, much more common than you'd expect, was fans coming up to me saying, how do I get my lawn like that? I was always so grateful for that. I was so, wow, it's amazing that people want to ask me about my job. And I used to say to them, are you sure you want to go down this path? Because believe me, I will bore you about grass before you bore me. Because they used to say, oh, I'm sorry to take up your time. I was like, no. I love talking about grass. I must have got asked that question thousands of times, thousands and thousands of times. And it was always an honour. But then I just had the, oh my God, through the beautiful path that my life's taken for me, I know the best people on the planet to answer that question. So I answer the guys' questions regularly, guys and girls' questions regularly. But really, I should be asking my peers these questions and forwarding the question to them, because these guys are the best people to answer this question. That's the light bulb moment. That's the moment when I really realised that I got the idea of ReelTurfPros. I thought, right, what if I go and interview all the best head groundsmen and women on the planet? Just offset that question to them. How do people at home get their lawn like this? And that is what ReelTurfPros is. Pitches only look perfect because we use as many of the best practices of grass care as we can. I said look perfect. I nearly said perfect then, but I got to go back to my mate Jim Buttard, the head groundsman at Twickenham. He's famous for saying that most people only get to, sorry Jim if I'm misquoting you here, but something along these lines, you know, at Harlequins I could get to about 80, 85, most people can get about 80, 85%, and the reason that Wembley exists and the reason that Twickenham exists is because they're after that last 15%, and believe me, just like Jay-Z said, more money, more problems. When you're pushing those boundaries to try and get to absolute perfection, the input and the energy involved is exponential, and it becomes much more difficult to maintain those standards. Again, to quote Jim, perfection's what we're aiming for, but we almost never get there. There's a good argument that sports care professionals are insane. I think I'm testament to that. So we've done my origins, done the origins of ReelTurfPros and where it came from. So what is ReelTurfPros going to be? What's it going to look like? And where we're going to go? Well, let me explain. Already laid a bit of it out for you. I'm going to interview the best head groundsmen on the planet. As many of them as I can. Glean from them the little tidbits, the little bits of information of why they're the best. What do they do? And there's so many great little tips that we can teach you along the way. So that's where I'm really excited. I want to talk to these guys and relate to you guys. I want to show you guys how accessible this world is. What do I mean by champions? A champion is self-motivated. These guys work so hard, but they don't have to. But they want to. They care. They're passionate. It's all about passion. The only way you're ever going to have good grass is passion. Because it's not easy work, but it's like anything. It is easy work if you maintain. It takes a lot of work to get a nice lawn, but it's not so difficult to maintain a nice lawn. I've realised that I'm in a very privileged position to know these people. I think it'd be a crying shame if I didn't get the information from these guys out of here and into here. I want to introduce you to these champions, to these warm, welcoming, wonderful people. I want you to experience what I experienced in Portugal when I was at the Turf Grants conference and I met all my peers. I want you to understand how great they are, and I want you to be as inspired by them as I've been in my career. Where they get their drive from, but what makes them innovate. I want to share my privilege with you guys. And if you stick around to the end of the video, I'm going to tell you who some of these great guests are. By the way, are you liking this so far? Because if you are, can you like it, please? It really does help. YouTube doesn't know who I am yet. I'm one episode deep, and the only way that YouTube, the algorithm, can understand how relevant this is for you guys to like about it, talk about it, share it. You know, if you know a groundsman that you think could be good on ReelTurfPros, hey, this isn't an elitist game. You might hear me say the word elite a lot, but it's not an elitist game. I want to go back home and speak to Preston Grasshoppers at some point, and I want to get to every club. There's so many clubs that can get to everyone. So please share the information, like, subscribe. It really does help. I'm not going to keep harping on, but at this early stage, it really does help me. Also, when I'm the MrBeast of grass and I've got like millions of subscribers and viewers, you can say I was one of the first person to subscribe to him. Yeah, it's all right, you being his fan now, but I was subscriber number one. All right, so again, thank you in advance for that. So editing, I'm learning as I go here. I've got weird lights all over. I don't know what I'm doing. This probably looks terrible, but I said I'll get better. So as I'm learning, it takes a long time to edit. So to give you guys regular content in between the big interviews with the big guns, I'm going to do a grass masterclass. Okay? Basically, I'm going to just film myself all the time. I've already started doing it. I'm going to start filming myself doing bits, bats and bobs. I'm aware of people's attention spans. You know, I like listening to podcasts like Joe Rogan that go on for 3 hours. But I'm also aware, like my sister can't really deal with anything longer than 5 minutes, and and I'm like that too with certain information. If I just want something, if I want to know how to do something like edit a video, I want a short, punchy 4 to 6 minute video. So I'm on all the medias, but I'm going to do short, medium and long term, so you've got the whole gambit. So you know, when I'm doing the long interviews, I don't know how long they're going to last, but that's going to be my long form content. To learn and to get better at editing, I'm going to start putting a lot of content out and showing you guys what we do on big pitches and big fields and across different sports, how we do it, what we do, and how that's relatable to grass, and just get it over to you in short, little, punchy, bite-sized bits of information that I hope you're going to really enjoy. I'm really looking forward to making this. Yeah, stay tuned. Our industry is a £1 billion industry, but guess what? And this might shock you, hardly anybody coming into it. My theory is that young people, like I was told, I was pretty much a numpty, so I should just cut grass. My theory is that young people are told by people older than them, could be parents, teachers, oh, you can do anything, you're special. And they are, they're amazing people. But I think that can put too much pressure, or more pressure at least, than I was under. I was either going to be a rocket scientist, an astronaut, or cut grass, or move bins. Not that there's anything wrong or good with any of those jobs, but it was very much like that when I was younger. Nowadays, anyone can be anything, and especially with all this, I think a lot of people want to be famous. Ironically, I don't want to be famous through this. Well, I don't think I'm going to be. I'm talking about cutting grass, but it's not about me. This is not about me. This is about my passion and getting it across. Yeah, I think a fair amount of young people have got paralysis by analysis to some aspect, where they've got so much choice now compared to when I was younger that it's overwhelming. And I want to show people how awesome our industry is. And, I've said to so many people the other day, the reason my job's so awesome is because we like playing with Tonka toys as a kid. We mess around with some kit for a while and go, because that's one of the secrets, is to always alternate what you're doing. So it's like, yeah, let's take something off the back of the tractor and put something. That's what we did. That's what I did as a kid. I'm still playing. I want to show people it's an awesome industry. It's well paid. It's very satisfying. Imagine what it feels like to put those stripes on a pitch, which I'm going to show you exactly how you can recreate at home. It's just the best job in the world. It's so gratifying and so fulfilling. And I keep talking about young people, but not necessarily anybody. If you're out there and you want to change your career, go and volunteer for your local club. Send them a letter, give them a call. I did that all the time when I was younger. I didn't get anywhere, but the world's changing and people will say yes. We'll talk about this more as we go along, but if you're interested in a career in the sports turf industry, get in there, because we need you. We need people. And that's another part of my vision and goals here of giving back, is I want to entice people into our glorious industry. Let's get some new blood into this wonderful industry that I'm part of. And another thing, I want to inspire people to work on their hobby. And at the same time, you're going to be getting outside, you're going to be feeling healthier, you're going to be feeling the satisfaction that we get, and you're going to learn patience. Getting a nice lawn is a lot to do with patience. You can't have it now, you got to wait. You got to do the right things at the right steps, and it will happen. Anybody can achieve amazing grass. It is hard work initially, but it is worth it. I want to become an information conduit. I want to share what I know. Let me tell a little side story. I hope I don't bore you. When I was young, my dad, absolute hero that he is, he used to do 12-hour shifts tasting beer. What a cool job, but he didn't actually drink it, but he used to taste stellar. But he did long shifts and he worked hard, and I don't think he made a lot of money. But my dad used to go and do the shift. He'd take me to school in the morning, and he used to come back, pick me up from school. So, if he'd started at 3 in the morning, he'd come and pick me up from school. I really wish I could go and kick my fat ass and say walk home from school, but no, my old man, legend that he is, he came and he picked me up. He'd come home, take me home, cook a meal. Always a good meal and all. He'd cook me good food. And then 7 o'clock at night, my dad was out. As I was growing older, I said to my mum, where does Dad go at night, Mum? And she says, he goes and helps children with learning difficulties in the church up the road. And I was like, wow. And still to this day, that blows my mind. He must have been so tired. And it gives me a bit of a guilt trip sometimes, to be honest with you. This is the point I'm making, that I'm too selfish for that. I've always thought I'd love to do something like that, but I'm knackered when I get home and I just want to chill. So I've realised that this is my giving back. This is where I want to be an information conduit. I want to give back what's in here. And believe me, the people I'm going to talk to have got such bigger brains than me and more information in them that it's my time to give back, like my dad used to give back. This is my absolute passion. This is what I do. I love grass so much. I often think I might have been dropped on my head when I was a child, but I really do love grass. And yeah, this is my moment in my life to step into my dad's shoes in a small way and give back. I'm going to use the same methodology that I've been describing, that I've used in my career, autodidactic, teaching myself. You'll get to know all my peers and you'll realise we're all in a way the same. I'm going to take that. What I really like about right now is I'm a novice again. I've got my notes here. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm recording sound on here. I'm figuring it all out as I go along. Don't get me wrong, I've watched thousands of hours of how to grow a YouTube channel, how to do an Instagram reel. Oh my God, my brain is melting, but I love it because I love a new challenge and I love putting my heart and soul into everything. I don't do anything by halves. I mean, I have been doing, on the 4 days where I'm not working, I'm working. I work harder on my 4 days. I didn't expect that at all. I have one chill day and spend the other 3 days working harder, learning how to become a YouTuber. In short, I'm going to become the MrBeast of grass. That's a big statement, but I am. I'm going to be the best at it because it's what real turf pros do. Okay, before I wrap up and get to the meat and get to tell you who the top guests are going to be, give you a few hints and give you a few teasers. I'm very interested. I'm still working on my questions for the Real Turf Pros out there. So what would you like me to ask? Please comment. There's a very good chance your question will end up being in Real Turf Pros, and I'm genuinely going to care about what you guys think. I'm genuinely going to work hard on this. So please, by all means, stick in the comments below what question you'd like to be asked. If you're a Liverpool fan, what question would you like to ask the Liverpool fan? Because I'm your conduit, remember. Yeah, so thank you. Thank you in advance for that. I'd love to know what you guys think. I like the idea that my growing audience becomes part of this. We grow organically together. Who have we got coming up? Okay, let's have a look. There's loads of people. I'm never going to stop, by the way. It's just going to go on forever, this. Fleetwood FC, Gary Robertson. What a groundsman this guy is. Apparently he's hilarious. I'm from very close to Fleetwood. So when I go and see my family, I'm going to go and interview Gary at Fleetwood. And I've got a feeling that's going to be a cracker because, like I say, he's a right old card. And yes, old Gary, yes. Hi, just Paul from the future here again. Things have changed a little since filming, so expect Pete Ashworth from Preston North End, Dean Gillespie from SIS Grass, world-class sports turf consultant, the brains behind Consolidate Turf, some of the world's top fertiliser manufacturers, and many, many, many more big names. It'll never end. Like, yeah, this is not an elitist channel, so yeah, I'm going to interview all the big boys. I want to take this international. Like and subscribe and make it so that I can afford to go to Real Madrid, guys, and show you those pictures. I'm not only going to interview all the elites, I want to go to Farnham Football Club, way lower in the divisions, because these guys were all real turf pros. Aldershot military barracks, I mean, that was the home of the MOD. At one point, all of the MOD was run from Aldershot. I've lived and worked around the area a long time. I work closely and work for, and all the guys there, Connor, the young lad, and Gary. I want you to meet people like Gary. Gary's, well, I'm not going to tell you how old Gary is, but he ain't young. Now, what I want to also show you is, it's not that we got it easy, because we, like I say, at the very elite top level, we still push ourselves. No one's telling us to. We're crazy. But in a way, that's easier than what Gary does over at the Aldershot cricket there, because he's been there 35 years, so nobody's got the experience that he's got. And we've tried to cut the square for 2 months with all the rain we've just had, and again, patience, he's had to wait. But when I worked with him, oh God, it was fantastic, because it reminds me of the old days, and he shows me reminds me all the cool little tricks that we do, that you're a little bit privileged, the things you have to do to make things work, and using old school techniques that really applies to home lawns. He's funny, he tells great tales. He reminds me a bit of Charlie, who I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, who was my mentor. And yeah, my career's coming full circle, and it's great. So yeah, it's just never going to end. I'm going to interview everyone forever. It's never going to end. I'm going to give grass tips forever, and it's never going to end. I've got big ideas and big dreams for this channel, and I won't be able to do any of it without you guys. You are my, what's the word? My lifeblood, you know. If this channel is going to be a success, it's because I'm doing my job of making it interesting for you, you know. So I'm never going to be anything on this endeavour without you guys watching, and thank you very much. Thank you for, hey, if you stayed around this long, then I know you're going to be a fan. In summary again, you've heard my story, you know who I am. I'm going to interview the best groundsman on the planet. I'm going to do a grass masterclass and show you guys what I do on a day-to-day basis. And I'm going to put loads of those little videos out, so you've got lots of choice, like choosing this video to watch right now. I don't know about editing yet. And if it's grey, it's because of this is video number 1, so keep coming back and there will be a video here at some point soon. Thanks for watching.